In today's tutorial, we're going to download satellite or elevation data from the Earth Explorer uh, online database managed by the United States Geological Survey (USGS). In this tutorial, we have this website here, which you can copy and paste into your web browser. Your search window, right click, paste, and this is USGS EarthExplorer. Nevertheless, you can still search for EarthExplorer in your search window. Explorer. Once you search for it, now here it is in the Google search window. Click on it. It will still take you to the same directory. You can see that it's still the same directory. So when you get to Earth Explorer, you cannot really download any satellite imagery or digitalization model here if you're not really registered with the Earth Explorer USGS. And of course, you register for free, so you don't have to worry about well how much it will take to register. So subsequently, you can now talk about how to download. Now to register. I registered for a while. It looks like it's been a while since I've used it, so they might have uh, cancelled my subscription. So to register, to log in, this is for login, and you click login and then login. But let's click the login. Now, when it comes time to log in, like I said, we have to register. So once you click login, you get here. If you're already registered, you type in your username, then password, certify that you're not a robot, and then you sign in. But we're trying to create a new one, so you don't sign in, you create a new account. Now, when you get here, you have to select a username. Uh, Let me take my official email and see where it goes. Password, select any, choose any password that you so desire, but look at the options here. Under username, the username must be between 4 to 30 characters, may contain alphanumerics, that's alphabets and numbers, or simply numbers. May contain any of the following special characters, as period, that's full stop, at, underscore, or dash. So my email address contains a period, contains at, another period. So no numerics. Well, in that case, let me do something else. Let me just say, let me change the username. Onyeka at 2000, for instance, at 2022. Let's say Onyeka 2022 was the username I chose. You need to type in as password. Uh, let's say, what are the protocols for the password? Must be between 12 and 24 characters. That's a long number. 12 and 24 characters. Must contain at least one alphabetic character. Must contain at least one numeric character. May only contain the following characters: comma, hyphen, full stop, pipe, pounds, underscore. Hmm, 12 characters. Okay, Onyeka, or if we say to make it easier on myself, Onyeka 40, or whatever it is I choose. Then get here, take any, just it should be between 12 to 24 characters for the password, and it should have at least one alphabet and at least one number, and it may have period, a comma, a period, hyphen, underscore, hash, and 5. So let me just select my own password, as the case may be. So let's see whether this works. You have to certify that you're not a robot, so click I'm not a robot. Well, it might tell you to identify something before it allows you to go through, but it didn't require that of me right now. So, haven't gone that far. Click continue. Let's see whether it moves to the next level. Ah, password must contain one alphabetic character and one numeric character. Well, of course, I had that, didn't I? No, I didn't. Oh, so here we go again. Okay, let's just see. Okay, the next one. So you have to repeat the password to make sure that you got the same thing. Oops. So now I'm done again. Let's see whether this one goes through. Continue. So now I scale through this time around. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So, having scaled through this hurdle, you may decide to this, save your password here in your system, so that when next you come, even if you forget it, it will remember you and then you move on. You might decide not to save, but let me save this myself. It wants to link it to my email account, so said yes, link it to that one, no problem. So you have to type in your email to make sure that you're the one. Oops, do I still remember that? Okay, next. So what this means is that when next I try to log on with my system, I would not need to type in the password. It will recall it because it's now saved and linked to my email account. So having done that, you move to the next step, which is about to identify, maybe talk about yourself, what you do, and why you require the data that you're trying to download. So the first question here, in what sector do you work? Well, I work in the education sector, academic institution. And of course, if you're a student, then it's still academic institution. So, and of course, you can just scroll through and see which one suits your need more. You might choose others if you're a student, and then if you're given the option, you can enter out type in student. But I work in the academic section. So, are you working on behalf of the U.S. A U.S. Federal agency? No. For me, no. Which of the following characterizes you as a user of remotely sensed data from USGS? Data provider, provide data for someone else to use? Nope, not me. End user, that's apply data or products derived from the data to accomplish my work, including scientific research and education. That's more like me. Product developer, not necessarily me. Manager, supervisor, technical and or end users also may make decisions based on work which uses the data. Possibly for me, technical user, not necessarily, but uh, end user, so which involves scientific research stroke education. So that's where I work. Now, others, please specify if none of these suits you, then you can come in here and type in what you think yours is. Maybe if you're a student, you can now type in a student there and move on. Now, does your work use remotely sensed data from USGS? Well, yes. Of your work that uses remotely sensed data from USGS, what percentage is operational and non-operational? Uh, Operational work is defined as continuous or ongoing work that either relies on the consistent availability of remote sensed data or a mandated or required uh, remotely sensed data, or is mandated or required, for example, crop reports, routine mapping, monitoring. That's possibly me. Non-operational, that's is defined as a one-time project or other works that is not mandated. For example, most scientific research. Well, mine is basically 50-50, so I leave it at 50. What is the primary application of for which you have used remotely sensed data from the USGS in the past? Well, select a primary usage, one specific one. Agricultural management, production, conservation. Yes, I've done that, but they want a primary. Alternative energy, no, not for me. Assessments and taxation, biodiversity, not really. Climate science, coastal science, cryospheric science, cultural, ecological, ecosystem science, possibly education. Well, I take education, university through college. It captures virtually everything I do, all of those in terms of both studies, teaching, and research. Now, in addition to the primary application, in what other areas have you used remotely sensed data from USGS in the past year? Hmm, agricultural forecasting, alternative energy, coastal science, K to 12, emergency, engineering, fish, forest science, humanitarian, land use and land cover. Yes, you can select more than one in these regards. Defense, range, grassland management, operation science, software development, technical training. Well, yes. Urban planning, development, utilities, agricultural management, production and conservation, yes. Assessment and taxation, climate science, cryospheric, ecological stroke ecosystem, monitoring, education has already been selected as the primary, so cannot be selected now. Energy, environmental regulations, fire, geology, hazard insurance, law, public health, real estate, rural planning and development, well, possibly too, telecommunications, transport, urbanization, water resources. Well, yes, water resources, but I'll leave that as is at the moment. Well, water resources, yeah. So having said that, other applications, if you recall, you can now add some extra that you didn't see prior, just before. Over the next year, approximately how much of the remotely sensed data you acquire from USGS will be distributed to others to use as opposed to uh, using it yourself? Next to zero. Uh, Maybe a little, because possibly, if need be, I might have to give some data, make some data available to some students for them to use in their own practicals. So yes, a little bit, a little of it, but then mostly I'll use the data myself. Now, over the next year, how important is free and open access remotely sensed data from USGS uh, to be conducting your work? How important is the data and it's free is and the fact that it's free to the sustainability of what you're doing? Well, very, very, very important. Very important. So continue to contact information, click that. And now you now talk about yourself. First name, last name. You type it in. This one is my system, so it's giving me what is recorded there already because now it knows. Well, address, select country, Nigeria. Nope, not Niger, Nigeria. So for the address, you have the company, your university, for instance. The address, I just choose my department there. It's beyond the point. It doesn't. It has a maximum number of alphabets that it can capture. So once it gets to that maximum, I just switch on over to the next line and completed it. City. My city is Oka at the moment. Province, Anambra. Zip code or postal code. Postcode, you might go online and search for your own postcode. Mine is Ifite Oka postal code. Now, if you talk a postcode for me, once you search for your own postcode, you see it online. So for me, it's 440112, according to what the internet says. Go back there, you paste in that postcode, 440112 email, type in your email, you retype the email, Alternative email. Yes, I have one. Telephone. You type in yours. Fax. I don't have a fax number, so nothing there. So save contact information. And now you can see that I'm ready to go. Onika 40. Name is this. Email address is this. Alternative email is this. My phone number, the address, demographic information. So all of those things that I filled, those are the things that are summarized here. So I now click submit registration. And now I'm fully registered and I can actually begin the process of using the data. So return to login. And now automatically, since I told it to save my password and information in my system, it already has it there. At least you've registered, so probably it will take a short while for them to kind of recognize that you are fully registered with them. So you might end the tutorial here, and the next stage we'll now talk about how to log in and then download the data.